As always, gang, it's been a blessing to give you this podcast today. However, like the chances of me overcoming sloth with diligence and writing an episode, this podcast is at an end. Let us go in peace. Alright, welcome to Goat St. Joe. So let's discuss sloth. Last episode we discussed gluttony and learned it was much more than just eating a lot. When we think of sloth, the first image that probably comes to mind is just being lazy. However, like our last sin, there's a little more to it. Being physically lazy can certainly be a symptom of sloth, but at its heart, this capital sin is spiritual lethargy, and it's much more serious than lying on the couch or walking a mile instead of running. Now, I don't take the French seriously on very many things. A few exceptions would be hosting invasions, their wine, and living in leisure. Their rich military history of surrendering, along with a 35-hour work week plus 30 days of paid vacation a year, forces me to admit that they are in fact good at something. Just nothing I would want to be good at. Minus the wine. So when a French priest is willing to define sloth, I'm listening. Father Adolphe Tanqueray defines sloth in these words. Sloth is an inclination to idleness, or at least aimlessness, to apathy in action. At times this is a morbid disposition due to poor condition of health. More frequently it is a disease of the will, which fear efforts and recoils from it. The slothful want to escape all exertion, whatever might interfere with their comfort or involve fatigue. Like the real parasite, they live on the others to whatever extent they can. Tractable and submissive as long as no one interferes with them. They become surly and peevish when no one would rouse them from their inaction. Another name for this deadly sin is acedia. I had to look up this word for pronunciation purposes, and was shocked that the etymology of acedia is Greek, and not French. Anyway, St. Thomas calls acedia sadness, because it is sadness in the face of the work of holiness, a sadness that causes us to refuse to take the necessary steps to achieve our sanctifications. While these explanations are thorough and insightful, we can certainly take Benjamin Franklin's pithy quote to heart. Idle hands are the devil's playthings. The Bible gives us a powerful story on the dangers of sloth. Most of us are familiar with the story of David, Bathsheba, and Uriah. Long story short, David sees Bathsheba. David wants Bathsheba. Bathsheba gets pregnant by David. David wants Bathsheba's husband Uriah dead. David makes him dead. All of us can recognize the deadly sin of lust in this story, and maybe even identify David's pride when he thought he could hide this horrible sin from God. However, this tragic tale began with sloth. David was not on the battlefield with his troops, but back at his palace taking a siesta. So how can we combat the sin that compromised a man after God's own heart? Diligence. This is an attitude exhibiting constant and earnest effort to accomplish what has been undertaken, regardless of anyone's circumstances. This virtue is the antidote to acedia, and it helps us to form good spiritual habits and stick with them, even when we really don't want to. One way to view this virtue is to see it as a spiritual drill sergeant that motivates us to keep doing the hard things, even when our enthusiasm is lacking. Ask any soldier and he will probably tell you that he does not like getting up at 4 a.m. and running 3 miles each day. But he does it because it's part of his duty as a soldier. We, in turn, can be motivated by a spiritual duty of our own. We can start by giving the beginning and ending of our day to God. Open and close each day with a short prayer. Read the Bible or listen to the Bible in a Year podcast. Pray a rosary. Or just have a conversation with Jesus. What may at first seem like a hassle can quickly turn into a habit that not only brings you closer to God, but also something you look forward to. We can use diligence to form rituals that allow us to recognize our spiritual duties in life. Conquering sloth now becomes as easy as conquering the French. Let's check out the bulletin. Help needed. We are in need of volunteers to help at the sign-in table during our church directory photography sessions. The dates we need help are July 1st, 11th, 12th, 19th, and 21st. And there are also time slots for pictures during the July 19th, 20th, and 21st sessions. Call Stacy at the parish office for more information. Wednesdays at 1 p.m. beginning July 5th through August 23rd. Join us for the Chosen Season 1 watch party. We will gather after Wednesday 12:05 Mass in St. Joseph Parish Center 203. Each week we will watch an episode, followed by a discussion. Light refreshments will be available. Please contact the parish office to sign up for or register online at stjosephjasper.org. Look for the events link. We're looking forward to seeing you. Please join us at the Mother of God Grotto on Bartley Street for our monthly rosary, which will be held on Thursday, July 13th at 7 p.m. The intention this month is for all who feel unloved. We also take intentions from all those present each month. May God bless all of you. If you have a big event coming up at your parish and want it mentioned on the show, give us a shout out at our Facebook page or email us at onthego@stjosephjasper.org, and we'll make sure we announce it. This invitation is for anyone from our surrounding parishes. As always, gang, it has been a blessing to give you this podcast today. However, like the chances of me suffering from sloth when given an opportunity to make fun of the French, this podcast is at an end.